feels like we are back again in the middle of this heavy fighting. Mike, your reaction?
Yeah, look, the Iranians are going to push in every single way, shape, or form. And I think Trump tweeted this, I don't know, 15 years ago, that like Iran never wins a war, but they never lose a negotiation. Well, I think the difference now between, the JCPOA that the Obama folks seem to talk about like the greatest deal ever is that we have a forcing function in the shape of our military and our ability to attack like not only their military assets. Every time they fired a drone, every time they fired a weapon, you can bet your bottom dollar the U.S. knows where that is, and that's where the 100 and so targets they hit yesterday, and they're going to continue to go after all of these things to force them to get back to the table. I still believe President Trump wants to come to a deal, that we would like to bring Iran into the fold of the Western world so that everybody can live peacefully and prosperously going forward. But if they want to play games, they're going to find out. I mean, President Trump said it famously in an interview with Rush Limbaugh. If they want to F around, they can find out. They are in the find out stage right now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, most people wanted the president to finish the job. 70-plus lawsuits against the Trump administration. Mike, your reaction?
Well, look, this is 100% political, because just ask yourself, would him and all these other Democratic attorney generals be out there doing and saying the same thing if Netflix had won the bidding for Warner Brothers? And the answer is no. So what's from there. And then this suit is going to lose in the merits, because the Journal cites an expert who says, well, you really want four in the space, and you've got Netflix, Amazon, and what will become Paramount, Warner Brothers. He fails to mention Apple, which is also a competitor there. So look, this industry is changing. I think it's going to be extraordinarily difficult to prove that this is going to push prices higher for consumers, which is your litmus test for these mergers. Although, from a broad standpoint, you don't want the, a consolidation of power in the media like this. It probably isn't good for the country in the long run, but that's not against the law. That's not going to win. This is a ploy, and it's going to drive a massive business and industry out of the state.
Yeah. Mahak, your thoughts?
Well, Maria,
it looks like the backdrop has been about the war, but this morning we're looking at a huge sell-off in IBM on this warning because of a negative read-through from Accenture's outlook. Accenture lowered its consulting outlook, raising concerns that large enterprises are slowing discretionary IT spending. Many people have said, you want to know where the stock market goes? Follow the spending on AI. Your reaction to what we're hearing out of IBM this morning, Mike?
Well, so the cost of memory and servers and data centers and compute is skyrocketing. And the CEO of IBM says directly in his letter to investors that they are losing wallet share. And I'd imagine there's not an infinite IT budget, and the cost of memory has skyrocketed this year, right? Or over the last 8 to 12 months, and that doesn't look like it's going to subside anytime soon. Okay, the adoption of AI and the spend for AI build out is going to be the largest infrastructure investment in the history of our country, and we have various log jams along the equation, and you have all sorts of different players fighting for the same memory, for the same chips, for the same land, for the same energy. Okay, so there are going to be speed bumps throughout this process, and I see what you have. I think what you have with IBM is kind of a temporary speed bump that's a result of some of these prices for different parts of that supply chain getting completely out of whack. Alex Karp said it last week, and I tend to agree with him. The people that are going to are making money right now are your chip makers and your software application layers. All right, and so that's going to shift dramatically as this whole sort of business cycle in this AI builds out. IBM is unfortunately a casualty this morning. It doesn't seem like this is a long-term problem, more of a temporary speed bump given the state of the markets right now. And to add a layer on top of that, like this war and the oil and the momentum players that are behind every single one of these stocks, you take the escalator up and you don't take the elevator down. It seems like you bungee bungee jump down with these stocks when they go in reverse. It is a tremendous amount of volatility in the market, which makes it harder for long-term shareholders to build large positions and stick with them. But that, to me, for an individual investor, if you're willing to stomach the volatility, gives you a tremendous amount of opportunity. A lot of stocks, like you look at a Micron, you look at a SanDisk, you look at the performance over the last 9 months. Okay, this doesn't happen in normal market cycles. We are in an anomaly right now. The opportunity is like nothing I've seen in my entire career. And to top that, most of Wall Street just simply has no idea how this is going to play out versus what the tech people are telling you. And to me, that represents, certainly a source of volatility, but opportunity to the upside of the likes I've never seen before.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're looking at AI stocks this morning. They're higher across the board. Micron is up 3.5% right now, Mike. But no doubt the spending with regard to AI and the spending around AI is driving a lot of these moves, this expectation that the spending continues. And then this morning we get this warning from IBM on spending, and look what happens to that stock. It's basically what Brad Gerstner from Altimeter, who was with me earlier last week, said the market will follow spending. Watch this.
What set the markets ablaze earlier this year was Anthropic's revenue and OpenAI's revenue. If AI revenues are showing that we're earning a return on the $1.2 trillion of annual capex that we're now spending on AI, then markets are going higher. If we don't have those revenues, then people will start questioning whether we can afford this $1.2 trillion capex build out. What I'll tell you is the U.S. is ahead of China in AI. The revenues are showing up in May and June for the companies like Anthropic and OpenAI.
So what do you think, Mike?
Maria, I listened to Brad talk extensively last Friday. Anthropic's might hit $100 billion in annualized revenue by the end of this year, okay? And that could be as much as $500 billion by the end of next year. This is unprecedented growth. Anthropic is the fastest growing company in the history of the world. OpenAI is lagging, but not that far behind. The world is changing, all right? This is going to be, the largest infrastructure build out in the history of our country. The money's following, and anybody who's used artificial intelligence in their daily business, daily life, as do I, as I'm sure Kyle does, knows this is for real, all right? And it's how it's going to be monetized and how it's going to play out. I mean, that's very much up for debate. This is real. This is happening. And for investors, if you could stomach the volatility, this is unbelievable.
So it sounds like you're not unnerved by this warning from IBM this morning.
No, because specifically they're losing the wallet share. So their mainframes that don't really partake in the AI play are losing out to companies spending more money on the AI infrastructure build out.
Yeah, okay. And what about the major banks? Kyle, you're right. There are other story thoughts.
Yeah, look, capital goes to where it's treated best. And when you vilify the most productive citizens in your backyard, why would they stay? Like what? And it's like one hit after the other, right? So it has been a straight, down elevator since Bloomberg left office. I am no Michael Bloomberg fan by any stretch of the imagination, but he was competent and he understood what the city needed to run. And you don't vilify the people that are paying your bills. You do not bite the hand that feeds you. And this guy's a clown. He'll just say whatever narrative there is out there and try to rationalize it in the goal of, gaining more power. We're living through this disaster, and those numbers are from 22 to 23. Wait until we see the numbers from this year.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, they're all watching this billionaire's tax in California to see if they want to put it in place in New York as well. So don't kid yourself. They're also watching what else they can do, even in the middle of all of this. We're just getting started this hour. Quick break, and then we're looking at markets, which are mostly...
Yeah, these IBM numbers that have kind of dragging the market down, this is an IBM-specific problem that has to do with their Z mainframe, which is a very large computer system that is not the best for either on-prem or frontier large language models, and they are kind of losing market share and wallet share to that. So this bleed over into other sectors and other services is erroneous, in my opinion, and what an inflation print. This market's going higher.
Yeah, for sure. The stock of IBM down 22%. It did hit other software makers like ServiceNow and SoftBank. So we are looking at a little bit of spread throughout the software names. But I guess it's because people are worried about all the hundreds of billions of dollars in spending, and they want to ensure that there hasn't been the kind of shift that IBM is talking exactly about this morning.
Well, and Maria, can I jump in here? Kathy
Please.
Hochul